Hi, Norman Goldman here. Thanks for being with me on the video version of the Norman Goldman Show. Now, I watch movies. I'm a big fan of the movies, especially old movies. And, I've watched my share of TV. And there's a common phrase out there called press charges. Those two words have a lot of power punched into them. Press charges doesn't exist. There's really no such thing as press charges. Let's resolve that right away. Here's the deal. If you have a complaint, I'm giving you the proper language now. If you are a complainant, if you have a complaint against somebody, you can take it to the police and you become a complaining witness. The police are under no obligation, zero obligation, to do anything about your complaint. The prosecutor, the public prosecutor, whether it's a district attorney, the county counsel, city attorney, they have what is known as prosecutorial discretion. They decide exclusively what charges to bring against who and what. There's criminal law and there's civil law. There's a lot of differences between the two, but for our purposes here, civil law is between two private parties suing each other over money. In criminal law, the point of the case is to put somebody behind bars. The option, the idea, the whole point of a criminal case is punishment. And the way you punish a person most severely is by taking away their freedom and their liberty to move about. Now, there are also fines, monetary fines, that's intended as punishment. In a civil case, let's say you and I have a contract where I'm manufacturing some good or product, and I'm supposed to deliver it to you for you to sell. And I breach the contract by manufacturing defective merchandise. So you sue me, right? You go to court and you say, hey, Mr. Goldman here had a contract with me to produce these things, and he produced them and gave them to me, and they were junk, they were garbage, and therefore I'm out a lot of money. That's a civil lawsuit. You're going to court, nobody's going to prison. I'm not going to prison, you're not going to prison. The judge is there to act as an impartial umpire. Keep the case moving along and let a jury decide who breached the contract and how much money is owed. The only thing at stake is money. Or in a divorce case, it's about custody of the children. In a criminal case, you don't get to decide what happens. In a civil case, let's say you have a car accident and you're the person who was injured in a car accident and you're suing the person who ran the red light and damaged you and destroyed your car in a car accident. And let's say you're tired of the lawsuit. You just don't want to do it anymore. You've healed up, you got a new car from your insurance company, and you're just sick of the case. You have the right to call your lawyer and say, get rid of my lawsuit, dismiss it, I'm done. And your lawyer can't stop you. It's your case, you can do with it what you want. That's in a civil case. In a criminal case, the prosecution is in total control. Now, let's say it's a sexual assault case. Unfortunately, those are all too common these days. Let's say it's a sexual assault case, and the complaining witness is a young woman who says that a man tried to rape her. The woman goes to the police do an investigation, the police write it up, they take it to the prosecutor, and the prosecutor decides whether to bring the case or not. Let's say the woman is very upset, as would be very understandable, about a man trying to rape her. So she says to the police, I'm pressing charges, I want you to prosecute. The police write it up. They do investigation as best they can. They hand it all over to the prosecutor. If the prosecutor says, I'm not filing this case because I don't think I can win it, there's nothing the woman who feels that she had been sexually assaulted can do about it. She cannot compel, she cannot force the prosecutor to bring the case. If the prosecution decides to bring the case, the woman can change her mind and say, you know what, I've had a change of mind. I don't want to go forward with the case. You can't stop the prosecution from going forward with the case. The prosecution can continue with that case even if the complaining witness doesn't want to, quote, press charges anymore, because the prosecutor makes the decisions, not the complaining witness. Understand that a crime is a crime because it's a public offense. It is a breach of the peace to rape somebody or attempt to rape somebody. It's a breach of the peace to attempt murder. It is a public violation. Whereas when I breach my contract with you and make defective products that I was supposed to deliver to you, that's a private problem. It's not a public offense. So the private-public line is an important one. If the young woman or the woman or whoever it is that's complaining about the sexual assault decides not to continue, and the prosecution says, I am going to continue, It presents a practical problem for the prosecution because now the witness, isn't cooperative. And they may dismiss the case as a practical matter, but they are not obligated to do so. They can still prove the case in other ways. They may never even call the complaining witness to testify, although the jury is probably going to sit there and say, what happened to the person who's claiming that, she was assaulted? But the prosecution knows that even if they serve a subpoena and drag that complaining witness into court, the complaining witness can get on the stand and say exactly the opposite of what the prosecution wants. So if the complaining witness is no longer cooperative, as a practical matter, the prosecution often and will likely dismiss the case for failure of proof because they no longer have the key evidence, meaning the complaining witness. But there's nothing that the complaining witness can do to force the charges to be filed in the first place or to prevent the charges from continuing on once they've been filed. That is all in the prosecution's discretion. So I would like for you and I to please forget this term press charges. There's no such thing. It's in the movies, it's in the TV shows, it means nothing. But all it does is really ask the police, ask the prosecutor to investigate and maybe bring a case. They have complete discretion because they bring the cases in the name of the public. They are the public prosecutors. There's no such thing as a private criminal case. You can't prosecute me for a crime. I can't prosecute you for a crime. That's why these cases are called People of the State of California versus so-and-so, or People of the United States versus so-and-so. Because public prosecutors prosecute public offenses. Those are crimes. If you've got a beef with me, you have to sue me civilly in court unless you can convince a public prosecutor that I've committed a crime, and then they get to prosecute me for a crime. They try and put me in jail or get fines or both. If you sue me for a civil wrong, then it's just a matter of money. All right, now that may be a lot there. I hope I didn't give you a headache, but I hope I taught you something you didn't know. We'll see you again on the next video version of the Norman Goldman Show.